So you guys, the idea for the first collaborative book happened last year in the beginning of 2020, and it has been an incredible, divinely guided, magical, amazing journey since then. We have published, I've lost count, I think we're at 15 collaborations in that amount of time, and culminating in the last one, which is this beautiful book that Lulu and some of her authors are going to talk about today. I've never been more aligned in my entire life, never manifested more amazing people, experiences, opportunities, and money in my entire life. And I am paying it forward in every possible way that I can to help upcoming authors learn the process. So these projects aren't only getting a chapter in a book, they're learning the Amazon best-selling process, they're learning the steps of publishing, and they're building a community for you as an author with, you know, all the other beautiful souls that are in the book. Lulu, thank you so much for trusting me with your baby, and for trusting me with the process, and for being patient with me when things were a little off. And I have been learning so fast, like just trying to juggle and learn and move forward. And it's people like Lulu who make it easy. So thank you. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say today.
Thank you, Laura. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our moderator today. Lulu Trevena is the founder of Live Life with Wonder. She's an award-winning author, artist, and quantum healing practitioner who's passionate about shifting the societal narrative about women and age. Her transformational programs will help you live with the confidence to do anything at any stage of life. And I reached out to Lulu because I didn't have a speaker yet for today, and I attended your launch on, was that Tuesday? I think, and was so impressed with every woman who was there and what you offered and what you said that I thought, wouldn't this be a cool idea to do this? And I'm going to now turn it over to Lulu.
Thanks, Jenny. Have I got the speaker on me? I think you might need to pin me, Jenny. I can't seem to do it my end. Can you hear me?
Yes, I did pin you just now.
Okay, I'm not seeing.
You want to be center screen, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, so this, of course, as Jenny said, came out of the blue of the opportunity. And what I've learned for myself is you've got to be fully embodied to be able to take those opportunities on. And we, the women in this book, is all about wholeheartedness, but also about the courage and the confidence that that takes, and the creativity. And I heard a few women talk about creativity. You know, they're now going to embark on creativity. So I want to encourage people to have that as something that is always in your life. Creativity is a not when, or when I get there, then I'll bring that in. So how many people here have been doing something while on the call, juggling something, juggling on something, doing something else? Okay, how many? Show me your hands. Okay, all of us. Now, when you tap into your own sense of expansion, which comes from creativity, does anything get in your way when you do that? No, usually you're so immersed, it fills you up. And so that is the essence that most of us are looking for. And we want that in all areas of our life. So that's about how can you invite that in with your own presence and your own openness to that experience through being connected to either your divine source, your own sense of your value, or your own sense of what does it mean to create as a person on this planet. And, you know, I often say, you know, live life like art. And so when you stand in front of a painting and you see the colors and they jump out at you, you feel that aliveness. So that's what we want to discuss today. So I have 4 of my fellow authors with me. We have Françoise, Everett, Meredith Sims, Keren Kilgore, and Pat Perrier. And they're going to share just some of their wisdom, some of their wholeheartedness, places where they've had, not so much courage, and places where maybe they have had to step up a bit, and then what creativity means in both their life and their work. So I do have some questions I'll be asking, but firstly, I'd like them to once again give you a bit more about who they are. So they are going to introduce themselves with one sentence, tell you a bit about what they offer and how it makes them qualified to speak about these topics of courage, confidence, and creativity. What qualifies them? They may tell you a little story that makes you pivot and realize, okay, this is where she's coming from. So we're going to start first with Françoise. Welcome, Françoise.
Thank you, Lulu. Okay, so here's what I want to actually set as a context for the work that I do is, and it relates to the chapter, is that mostly we've been defining success in our society as coming from like power, money, possessions, right? And we've extracted out that definition versus living and creating it from the inside out. So everything's been externally given to us, right? We've been creating success from the outside in. And in working with women around personal leadership, really understanding the depth of what it means to lead themselves from within, I believe it's much more important to create a lifestyle that serves us, that supports us, rather than just focus on business. So I think life holds everything else, like business, career, relationships, health, and well-being is a really big part of that. And prosperity is a really big part of that. And so, so that's the foundation of, what I share about in the book is really in areas of my life where I didn't know how to lead myself from within. I was very externally directed, outwardly directed. And the shift was to learn to become inner guided, because that's where we create. And that's where it takes courage, because sometimes it looks like and feels like going against the grain of society or against the status quo. So it's really breaking free of that.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Françoise. Okay, next to Meredith.
Hey, great. Thank you, Lulu. So as I said before, I'm a financial advisor, and that's been, when you talk about courage, confidence, and creativity, you don't normally think about financial advisors, certainly aligned with creativity. And so that's been quite a process for me. It was a midlife career change. And what really drives me, and it's interesting that Françoise spoke about context, because, women come to me because they want help with their budgeting or their investing or their engagement with money, because often it becomes this siloed thing. But the context that I believe I hold, and that what speaks to my heart and really led to the name of my business, is to connect women with what speaks to their heart, and have them use their money as a tool for that versus having it in a separate kind of silo. And from a creativity point of view, I mean, my mom was an artist. I consider myself an artist at heart. And it's certainly taken confidence to be fully who I am, a little bit of woo, a little bit of creativity inside of what has been traditionally a very male-dominated industry, and certainly felt very much like that when I first entered it, which I allude to a little bit in the chapter in the book. So, it's a little bit about me. Thanks, Lulu.
Thanks, Meredith. I like when Meredith said the word woo. We've heard this word woo-woo, and we kind of, some claim it, some don't, and then we kind of reduce it to one woo. Let's just, as women, just have that's the wholeness of who we are. And we don't even need to give it a word, but, I was saying to Laura the other day about in business, I kept on thinking I had to leave some things to the side and be this person. Whereas what I've realized is the more that I bring in, the more that I say that I'm you know, a home birth mother. The more that I say that I've done different things, it gives people a broader context, and they also have some places to relate to me. So yeah, inviting all that in. Okay, we're going to move to Keren now.
Yeah, it's interesting the theme, because I so resonate with this from what Françoise and Meredith both said. The whole creativity thing is it's like if it doesn't come out of you in creativity, it's not authentic, or there's some energy that's birthed in it that is expressed through everything else you do. For me, I love watercolor, so I have a art. This is my office down here. I have a little I have a art table over here and a patio outside and swings, and that just brings energy out of me that is translated into everybody I work with. And when I feed my soul in that area, my clients benefit big time. And one of the things, I'm very intuitive, and so I'll start seeing things in people. But when I'm not filled, my own needs aren't met, then it's hard to. You just don't have it. You don't have it to give. So that's an important part. The part of courage is enormous, because we're all embarking on things that are unknown, especially women over 50. It's like we're starting over in a lot of ways. We have things we want to accomplish and do that we've always wanted to do, and our careers have led us a certain way, but that then when we turn a certain age, we're like, no, I really want to get this done. And I love that. That is speaking to something really powerful in the universe, because your giftings are so needed. There is more than enough for everybody. There's more than enough, and every single one of us are needed. And when we really speak out of our own authentic self and our own giftings, it's huge. We're going to change the world by that. And it's not by millions and millions, it's just by the people in front of you, and they change the people in front of them. And so I'm on fire about that. I really am. So what a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Keren. I was on the meeting yesterday with Ginny, and we were talking about, in business, the much more we're in collaboration and in connection as opposed to in competition. Many of us here do the same things, so when we know to harness our own talent and bring that in and harness the other person we're working with. So that's the what do you call that? Exponential. We don't know where it will go. It's not just two single things. It just spans. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Pat, would you like to introduce yourself too?
Hi, again, my name's Pat Perrier, and I will tell you that if you had asked me 25 years ago if I would be doing what I'm doing today, I would have looked at you and said, are you smoking something? Because I started out in a very traditional corporate America. I worked in mostly male-dominated fields, including roofing technology, so I am not afraid to get up on a roof. What I found was, in tune with what everyone else has said, I actually claimed the women's intuition thing, because coming from a male-dominated, I talk to roofers, and it's like, you can either talk to me and I'm way nicer, or you could talk to my boss who's from Brooklyn and he'll swear. So, I mean, pick your poison, dudes. I would be able to make these leaps that didn't seem to be logically connected, but when you looked at it, it was a creative solution to a problem. And, a couple of times you'd get that metaphorical pat on the head and be like, yeah, women's intuition. And I would look at them and go, yeah, but it worked. So what's your problem? So I feel like I've been able to flow into a number of different positions. I had gotten laid off during the great layoff seasons that have happened. I got a master's thesis out of it. I was approached by a friend of mine that I met in grad school, and she said, hey, you'd probably be a really good book editor. So I worked for McGraw-Hill, editing textbooks on the college and graduate level. Then I found the Elephant Workshop, and I thought, gee, I really need to learn about social media and e-zines and stuff like that. So I did that. I was taking yoga during that time. My studio owner who's a friend of mine and my initial yoga teacher, said, hey, I'm going on vacation. Can you manage the studio for me while I'm gone? Went into teacher training. Just about now finished my 500-hour. I've written 2 chapters in 2 different collaborative books. I've edited many chapters of other writers. And it's just been like, if you are open, you don't even have to know where you're going sometimes. Things just manage to fall into place. I do have a part-time gig that I absolutely adore. Work for a wonderful woman, learning tons about social justice that like I said, I'm an old hippie. So social justice now, including the LGBTQ community, the trans community, the Black Lives Matter community, and all of this stuff I'm learning has just expanded my own viewpoint exponentially and in such a way that I never thought to have done in my life. I mean, I was the first one in my family to move away, stayed away for 10 years, not deliberately, just because that's how it happened. Being immersed in Virginia, the north of the South, is quite a different experience when you've grown up in the middle of Yankee land south of Chicago. So I found all of it, finding community in all of these different segments has just been amazing. And I love my life.
Thank you, Pat.
I have to jump in really quick and say, Pat, you and I have got to connect after this because I think we are soul sisters in some form. I tend to think of myself as an old hippie too. But yeah, I got pictures I should show you all.
Crunchy granola rules, I'm telling you.
When we first came on today, Ginny and Pat were under each other, and I was like, these 2 are sisters. I could see you together. And have I got is it being pinned right? Because I'm kind of seeing it different from recording. Is that fine? Yep, good. Okay. So I've got a few questions I'm going to ask each panelist, and they're going to jump in and give their responses. As an artistic, creative person, I like to explore different, creativity points of view, but also points of view in life. So, when we live life in our own integrity and fullness, and we also are open to other things and have that awareness, we get led in places. And I heard the word a few times today, flow and connection and all this, and intuition. So these are things as women we talk about more than I think the male gender do. So this is a power place where we have in ourselves. So the first question I'm going to ask is, where in your life that you're willing to share with us have you really had to step up in your own courage and confidence? In other words, be that big, brave, and put on your big girl pants. Where has that happened in your life? So we're going to start back with you, Pat.
Well, so aside from moving 900 miles away, that was when I was young, and I think that was great because it formed when I came back, my mom, the first thing she said was, "You're like a totally different person." And I was like, yes. The other time, something Dora said, when you know you're right and nobody believes you. I had a heart issue. Well, I still have it. I had a heart issue for 10 years. And I kept saying to my doctors, there's something wrong. And honest to God, every one of them said, well, you're that age and things happen in menopause. So when you read my chapter in this book, you will see how I solved that problem. Laura and I still laugh about that. And Lulu and I came up with a phrase, and I told Lulu she's free to use it. It's like I grew a pair of iron ovaries. I'm like, I'm over it. I am carrying this body around. I know when it's wrong. And it's freaking wrong. So I think just standing up and saying to all the folks in the white coats, that's cool. I admire the fact that you went to medical school, but I'm hauling this around and there's something wrong with it, so fix it.
Yeah. Beautiful, Pat. And I have been on a couple of other things on Purpose Women, and I spoke about the medical profession in particular has done all their research on men. So the research does not match women. So the more that we speak up for ourselves and point them to, that we understand our body, maybe they need to expand their awareness, the more we take charge.
Yeah, most drug trials are on 175, 180 pound men.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to move to you, Meredith. So we're talking about when have you had to really step up in your courage and confidence? And Meredith is Australian as well. She lives here in Atlanta with me. We met in Atlanta. So that's her accent, if you're wondering.
Indeed. You know, I found this question a little challenging because I didn't feel like I had been or needed to be overly courageous throughout my life in many ways, but I think courage is different for everyone. I mean, like Pat, I moved states with no plan, no job. I moved to London with no plan, no job. I mean, I moved to the States. I moved from my comfortable career into being an entrepreneur. And so some would say that they were courageous moves, but they just felt like the next logical step for me. I would say that what has taken the most courage and the most going within for me in this journey as an entrepreneur is actually branding. When I branded as Heartstrong Wealth Planning, I mean, I was like nervous about, you know, I have to send everything through compliance in my industry. And I was nervous about sending that in because it was like I could just envisage all of those guys back there in their kind of production orientedness in this industry laughing at that. And so it really took some courage to kind of come out as that. And it makes me laugh now because I'm very comfortable with it, but it was uncomfortable to do that, you know, to call my brand something that felt very unlike a traditional or what you often come across in this industry. So I think, and I guess that's true of everything in life. It's like speaking our true voice that encompasses all of us is where, I mean, that's where, to me, that's where I've had to really have courage.
Yeah. And I liked how you said it's different for everyone. Like, you know, what is courage for one person and what is courage for another person can be totally different. And we don't need to clarify that one is different or better, that we, you know, stand up in front of a room of people or just say something to our mother-in-law, you know, they're both courageous. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Meredith. Keren.
Mine is similar to Meredith. We're really on track today, Meredith. Is rebranding exactly for me, because I was kind of playing small in my company. I was very successful, but I really felt like I was still playing small and was really impressed to rebrand. So I rebranded to Quantum Shift Media. And oh my God, the quantum shift that I went through almost tore me apart. And I have moved I've moved 52 times in my life. I've had 26 teenage foster kids with jail and drug and all kinds of stuff. I've run nonprofits, but this one almost put me over the edge. And I felt like the quantum shift was like I was being torn, the molecules in me were being taken apart and put back together in a whole new format, like a bigger container. My container was being taken apart and put back together. And this quantum shift, I knew it was the right name, but I thought, can I make it through this? Can I do it? I don't know. And I have, and now clients are coming to me just because of the name. Yes, I want a quantum shift in my business, and I've been through it, and I know exactly what to do to get you there. And so that has required a great deal of courage for me. It really has. It really, really has. Yeah. And I did it. I made it.
Yeah.
I made it.
Keren and I have known each other a couple of years. And so, you know, I've seen this move. And, you know, I also worked with Keren for quantum healing. And I'm not saying that that was the impetus, but from the before the quantum healing and now, like she actually owned the quantum leap, the quantum shift. She had to own it first, and then she, you know, created her business name. And then in the uncomfortableness and, you know, the breaking through, like you imagine a chicken breaking through an egg, you need some sort of divine oomph, and Keren's really been doing that. So
and Yeah, and now when I'm you know, my clients coming, I'm doing that for them, and they're feeling the same thing I am, like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? And I'm thinking, yes, you can. You really, really can. Hang on. We're going to get you some help and some energy clearing, and we'll send you to Lulu for some, you know, healing. And yes, you can do this. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
And if we only did everything that was comfortable,
Yeah.
can we classify that as growth? If we only did everything that was
Yeah.
predictable and comfortable, could we
Right.
even say that's growth? No. So yeah, thanks, Keren. Françoise.
Wow, what a question. I feel like I can really piggyback on what each of you said about courage like this. There's two things that kind of come to mind for me. One was leaving my marriage, because I, number one, never thought of myself as someone who would do that. Like, I was very much not in that identity at all. And it was really this like soul related going home to myself part of my life. And my husband was a good person, so I didn't feel like I had any excuses to not want to be there. And again, it was really about breaking free from what's expected of me externally and following this deeper knowing. And that really was hard for me. And the other thing that I want to share that kind of really resonates with me about what Keren said is the branding, because in the fall of 2019, as I reconnected to a lot of my feminine power work and chose to become a certified feminine power coach, facilitator, and leader, it's a 2-year program, so I'm in year 2 now. I had this download of Elle Unleashed, like woman unleashed in the French term. And I just beat with that for till probably July. I was like, I wonder what Elle Unleashed is. Is it going to be my new business, my new company? Is it going to be my new brand? Like, I really lived into that. And then finally in July of 2020, I was like, that's who she is. And she's sort of like a guiding force for me. And so I really connect to what you said, Keren, about like when you step into that, right? And trusting and letting go of what it was before. And so I will have an elleunleashed.com website. I got the URL as separate from the Françoise Everett website that just got relaunched last week, completely redone, rebranded and everything. But those are places where you're like, is that going to work? Is that, you know, and it really is about trusting what's coming from within enough to take those steps forward.
Yeah. Thanks, Françoise. Yeah, we've each sort of said something about our business and maybe our calling. We were prepared to listen to the calling. That's how we've moved forward. In the Wholehearted Wonder Women book, I talk about, you know, my business name, Live Life with Wonder. And, you know, for the last couple of years, I've even thought to myself, is that kind of too, I don't know, fluffy, too, you know, silly, you know, like I've doubted it, but that was a download. It was like, actually, doesn't everyone want more wonder in their life? Like, who wants to like be dragging their body to their grave? No one. So, you know, I've stepped into my own wonder, even though I had the business name for a long time. I can see the time and we are running out of time. So we're going to go straight to creativity now. We're going to talk about what role does creativity play in your life and what the results are for you on what levels you feel you get results, you know, in your life, or how you'd like to explain that. So Françoise, we'll start with you. You're still muted. I'll ask you to unmute.
Thank you. I'm so sorry about that. My screen just went super small and I couldn't get to the button. So yeah, creativity, that is such a funny one for me, because for the longest time, I had a definition of creativity as being artistic or you know, musically inclined, or dance or photography. I was really drawn to photography for many, many, many years. But I didn't experience creativity or thought of myself as creative. So the first major shift was to realize that I am creative just by being of this, right? Being human of this planet. I was like, oh, so I had to completely redefine that. I am highly creative in the kitchen though. But so over the last year and a half, I've just had a huge growth spurt, expansion into the feminine power work that I now bring to clients. The creativity piece has been about really tuning in to what it is that I most desire to experience. And so when I asked myself that question, and it was about beauty and expansion and prosperity and well-being, and some of it it came naturally to me, but some of it I had to kind of be like, how do I get there? And so realizing that I am at the source, in connection with source, that I have to, I think someone earlier said it similarly, if not just this way, but meet life so it can meet me, and keep meeting life so it can meet me. And that there is this co-creative piece to life that is just amazing. But yeah, like that's where I'm now being much more playful. I was very serious, especially on the entrepreneurial path. And I came from the like high level, consulting, like global consulting firm. So I had very much that masculine or male dominated industry into more of that fluid, creative piece. And that's been really the fun. It's being more playful, frankly, and bringing more of what I desire to experience and claiming it.
Lovely, Françoise. The wonder and then the steaminess, Dora. We've got something happening here. Lots of play. Pat, you're next.
So, I have always been creative, and in kind of I've been singing since I could speak. I play guitar, draw, knit, I bake. I can make some killer bread. The pandemic put on a lot of pounds. But I have to relate something that happened to me actually this week. We had a death in the family, and it was my godmother. And we knew it was coming, but you don't know it's coming. You know how that works. And when I heard about it, I grabbed my camera and I went outside. My husband had said there were some thunderheads building, and out here in the Midwest, we do awesome thunderhead clouds. If you've never seen one, Google them. They're amazing. And I took some pictures, and I took pictures of my flower garden. I took pictures of the clouds. I got like way down, took the picture of my first little swallowtail baby caterpillar that's on my dill. And I felt the presence of my godmother, who's my aunt and was kind of the person who taught me that it's okay to let all that shine. It's the idea of, I was very academic. I was the bookworm. You can see in my office, I'm surrounded by books. Everything was regimented and all that. And my aunt was like, no, play is a good thing. Get out and go play. So I felt like that was a call. And so when I find myself, when I need to write, when I need to create content for my website or do a newsletter or something, I go and do something totally opposite of that. And then all of a sudden I've got the words, I've got the concept, I know what's going on. And I'm like, okay, bam, I can do this.
Beautiful. I saw that picture you put up. It was just like amazing. I was like, is that, I couldn't quite get my head around it. That's exactly what it looked like.
Minus the Facebook filter of the sparkly things. Yes, that was the thundercloud that was over over the top of my house right after I got the call that my aunt died. So I want to almost, it sounds, talk about woo-woo. It sounds like, that's my aunt going, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat. We all want those moments that take our breath away, and we have to be aware in the place that pause, breathe, to have them. Otherwise, we're missing them. We're just rushing through life. So, make sure today, even after this call, take some time to just like be in your life, be in the beauty, nature, whatever that is. Yeah, gorgeous. Okay, Keren.
Yeah, the creativity part is huge. My chapter is chapter 3. It's living in the sweet spot, life in the sweet spot. And for me, one of the things I am really, really reliant on divine inspiration to come to me and to come through me. And so every morning, my husband and I both put a drop of frankincense on the top of our head, and we'll hold our hands out and we'll say, let all the goodness come. Let all the goodness come. I receive it, let it all come. And really just put myself into that place every single day. And I can feel that inspiration and creativity and energy running through me, and it gets communicated out to people all the time. It gives me creative visions of people. I see stories and objects. I see people. I'll look at someone and I can see them in the depths of their soul and actually put it into a word picture or a graphic or something. And it's because of that. It's the whole let the goodness come and the creativity. And oh my gosh, we are powerful. We are so powerful. It's awesome. Yeah. So that's my take on creativity.
Beautiful. And you have us all doing that now, Keren?
Yes, exactly. Yes, do it.
You know, I've actually, I sit up in bed, I flip my legs, and I do it before I actually get out of bed.
Great. Good. Yeah, I want to start a movement on this because we need this energy to flow through everything we do. So let the goodness come. No kidding.
It's come. Beautiful.
Let it come.
That's one of your book titles, you know that.
Yep.
Okay, Meredith, up to you.
Okay, well, everyone has pretty much covered all of the facets of creativity for me so beautifully today. Beauty is one of my values, so I do love being astounded and surprised by nature's beauty. And Pat, like you, I'm forever taking photographs and filling up my phone with photographs. I think the role that creativity plays for me is there are two aspects to it which you've spoken about. I think Lulu in particular is the actual art of being in an artistic kind of creation process, because it's so, well, someone else said, I mean, you can't think about anything else. It completely transports me, and that allows me to return to my business with renewed energy. But the other thing that's really important that I've been kind of focused on as well is allowing myself creative space. And I call it following my nose. It's like waking up and having nothing on the agenda. I normally try and make this on a Sunday, but it doesn't always work out that way. So that I can just literally wake up, go out, sit outside, put my feet on the ground, ground myself. And it nourishes me so much to have that sense of I can just meander throughout my time or the allotted time. It really helps if it's a full day, because that's when I really get to connect with the divine, my intuition, and just reconnect with my heart and where I'm heading. So yeah, nature and art, and just that creative process of like following my nose, which I think is a doggy expression, but is what really nourishes me and helps me.
Yeah, beautiful. I know we're coming on to time, but we would like to give each speaker something to finish with. And I just wanted to speak with, I've done felting, I've done glasswork, I've done woodwork, I've done painting, I've, sewn, and I've worked with lots of medium in the artistic realm. And what I've noticed, especially when I go to workshops or classes, people are in the process of creating and they look miserable and they're like trying to get it right and their bodies are tight. And I'm like, I think we're supposed to be enjoying the whole process. And in the end result, even if the end result is not what you want, enjoy the process as you're going there. So that's my takeaway. Like, if you take on a new hobby, don't expect to be good at it, but really enjoy it as you're doing it. So ladies, one one last word of wisdom, and then you can share with something that you have to offer, and people can reach out to you and connect. So let's start with you, Meredith.
Okay, more wisdom. It sounds like a cliche, but I would say that never give up on your dreams. It is a cliche, but I would also say that money is a tool to support your voice in the world. And so, we tend to nurture our energy, particularly in groups like this. We nurture our home, we nurture our garden, we nurture our family. And I would just say that don't forget to nurture your money. It's really the foundation for being all of who you are in the world. And it's not a question of how much money you have. It's a question of, are you directing it in a way that supports you, and you, not everyone else, to your best and highest good.
Beautiful.
And I put in the chat just my contact details if anyone ever wants a virtual coffee, totally no obligation, complimentary. I love connecting with other women.
And do that again once more now too, Meredith.
Okay.
Great. Pat.
So as a child of the 70s, I was raised on that commercial that you can do it all, and you can't. Lulu's comment about how many of us were multitasking while we were here. How many of us live on our screens and we're so busy videotaping our child's performance that we miss our child's performance? I have come to realize that you should not be doing it all, but you can always do something. Mm-hmm. And what that thing you do, you may not know the long-term effects of that, whether it's a long-term effect on you or someone in your circle. So step out and do the thing. What's the worst that can happen is that you've done the thing. So I have put in, I'll do it again. I'll cut and paste my information. I'm available for a chat about editing. I'm available for a chat about yoga, breathwork, meditation, all that stuff. I love doing that. I love helping people to tap into that energy, and I love to work with people's words.
Thank you, Pat. So glad you joined us today. Françoise.
So there's a couple things. I'll be really quick about it because I know we're up on time, but one of them is from Ariana Huffington, who said, you will never lack external guideposts for success. What you most need is to develop your own internal guideposts for success. And that's where we feel confronted because we have to be present to create them. And that's us creating our new context. The other thing that I think is really powerful that I got from Feminine Power, really shifted me in so many powerful ways, is just to keep reminding myself, and I said this over and over again, I put myself and my empowerment first. And it doesn't mean neglect anybody else, but it really shifts the energy inside of you. And so love to lead with that. Like, I put myself and my empowerment first, and it's not selfish, right? And I'll just put all my connection information here. I would love to connect with each one of you just to learn about who you are. That would be amazing. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Françoise. So just remember, our book is, we're having a prize draw today. So if you haven't got your copy, get it right now and send me an email with your receipt. And we have 17 huge prizes. I'm going to drop that into the chat again. And yeah, send me the receipt straight away. It's been drawn at 1 o'clock today. Hey, Keren, we're up to you, sweetie.
Yes, my word of wisdom is go find your teacher. It could be an iris, it could be a cloud, it could be a guru, it could be a word in a book, it could be a word someone spoke, but go find your teacher.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. I feel very blessed to not only have your stories in the book, but also to know you personally. Our book is a collaboration of global women, 22 women over 50, and they also put their age in the book because we're claiming our age, women, as we move ahead, whatever age we are, we're just claiming it and moving forward with all that is us. So thank you, Ginny, for this opportunity. I'm going to stop the recording. I believe we're going to stay on if we want. Can you still hear me? Where did I
Yes.
go?